The night sky above Earth looked calm, peaceful, and almost ordinary. Stars sparkled faintly and the moon glowed gently over the oceans. But peace never lasted long in the history of humanity, and on this night the universe decided to remind them how small they truly were. Without warning, something enormous appeared in orbit. At first, astronomers believed it was a meteor. Observatories across the world reported a strange reading, but when the object slowed down and stopped, it became clear. This was no rock from space. It was a ship. The alien warship stretched across the heavens like a dark crescent, a city-sized shadow blotting out clusters of stars. Entire coastlines went dark as power grids failed under the electromagnetic surge it released. Panic spread quickly. Civilians rushed into streets staring upward at the unfamiliar silhouette. Governments scrambled to make sense of the sudden arrival. The ship did not fire weapons. It did not release smaller craft. It simply hung above Earth, silent and massive, as if waiting for something. Then came the message. At first, every communication channel on the planet flickered. Television, radio, satellites, even mobile phones. People covered their ears as the sudden sound filled every device. It was not static, not noise, but a voice. Clear, steady, and impossibly deep. "Human, I insist you inspect my body." The words repeated in dozens of languages. English, French, Hindi, Arabic, Mandarin, Swahili, and more. Each perfectly translated as if the speaker knew every tongue on Earth. The world froze. Some thought it was a trick, a strange broadcast from a hostile power. Others believed it was an alien riddle, a test, or even a threat. But as the voice continued, calm and unshaken, leaders realized they could not ignore it. In New York, inside the headquarters of the United Nations, chaos filled the conference chambers. Diplomats argued in rapid voices, their translators struggling to keep up. Military advisors demanded to prepare weapons. Scientists insisted that weapons were useless against something of this size. Finally, the Secretary General struck the table with his hand. "We must respond," he said firmly. "If they wished to destroy us, they would have done so already. Instead, they ask, we must find out what they want." Within hours, a response was sent into orbit. Earth asked for clarification. Who was speaking? What did they mean by "inspect my body"? Why choose humans? The reply came almost instantly, again in perfect translation. "I am Commander Sirthal of the Vacor Dominion. My body requires inspection. Only a human will do. Send one." The simplicity of the message was unsettling. No threats, no explanations, no negotiations. Just a demand, spoken with quiet certainty. Dr. Elias Morgan sat alone in his laboratory at the University of Cambridge when soldiers knocked on his door. He was a tall man in his 40s, with tired eyes that had seen too many sleepless nights in front of microscopes and scanners. His field was xenobiology, a discipline often dismissed as theoretical fantasy, until tonight. Two officials entered and gave him the news. He was to lead the mission. "Me?" Elias asked, stunned. "Why me?" "You are the world's foremost expert in alien physiology," one officer said. "There is no alien physiology," Elias corrected quickly. "It's theoretical. I study how alien life might work." "Exactly," the officer replied. "You're the closest thing Earth has to what they want." Elias tried to argue, but the decision had already been made. Within hours, he was flown to a military base where a shuttle waited. Around him, the finest representatives of Earth gathered: linguists, medical specialists, security guards, and a small diplomatic team. But all eyes kept turning to Elias, the man who had been asked for directly. The shuttle launch was silent compared to the chaos on Earth. From the windows, Elias could see the alien warship growing larger as they approached. Its surface was unlike any human craft, smooth, flowing, almost organic in its curves, yet massive and unyielding. It looked less like a machine and more like a living monument carved into the void. As they neared, a section of the ship opened like an iris. A hangar, vast enough to swallow entire cities, welcomed them inside. The shuttle landed softly on a platform of strange metal that glowed faintly beneath their feet. The delegation stepped out, hearts pounding. Around them, alien soldiers stood in rows. They were tall, armored beings with elongated limbs and faces partly hidden by masks. Their armor gleamed with faint blue light, but none moved to threaten the humans. Instead, they simply watched. At the far end of the chamber, a door slid open. From it emerged the one who had spoken, Commander Shearthal. He was enormous. Nearly 3 meters tall, his frame was covered in a mix of biological tissue and mechanical augmentation. Plates of living metal fused with his skin, pulsing with faint light. His eyes glowed amber, fixed firmly on Elias. Though intimidating, his posture carried no hostility. Instead, it radiated authority. The humans froze, overwhelmed by his presence. But Shearthal's voice, the same one that had shaken the earth, now filled the chamber without the need for speakers. "You," he said, pointing one long arm toward Elias. "You are the inspector." Elias swallowed hard, his throat dry. "I am Dr. Elias Morgan, a scientist." The commander stepped closer, each movement deliberate, resonating through the floor. When he stopped towering above Elias, his voice softened slightly. "Human, I insist you inspect my body." The words sounded less like a demand this time and more like a request, though still heavy with expectation. Elias felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "Why me?" Elias asked quietly, unable to contain his question. "Why a human?" Shearthal's eyes flickered faintly. "Because humans are unclouded. Your kind sees truth where others see only power. My own physicians cannot be trusted, but you may find what they will not tell me." Around them, the alien soldiers shifted but did not speak. The humans in the delegation exchanged uncertain glances, realizing they were part of something far greater than they had ever imagined. The commander turned, motioning for Elias to follow. "Come, time is short." Elias hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward. The air was cool and metallic, carrying a faint hum that seemed to vibrate in his bones. The corridor ahead was lined with glowing patterns like veins of light running through the walls. As he walked beside Shearthal, Elias could not help but study him closely. The alien's body was a mystery, half flesh, half machine, yet neither part seemed unnatural. It was as if evolution itself had decided to merge biology and technology into a single being. "Where are we going?" Elias asked. "To my chamber," Shearthal answered. "You will begin the inspection there." Back on Earth, the world watched in suspense as the delegation's communication feed streamed images. Billions of people saw their first clear glimpse of the alien commander. Social networks exploded with theories. Was this a trap? A medical experiment? A test of humanity's honesty? But in the hearts of ordinary people, curiosity slowly overcame fear. For the first time, humanity was not being attacked, conquered, or dismissed. They were being asked. The commander's chamber was vast, filled with strange devices that pulsed with quiet energy. At its center stood a reclining platform that resembled both a throne and a medical table. Shearthal gestured to it. "This is where you will inspect me." Elias looked around nervously. "I'll need instruments. Scanners, tools." The commander extended one arm. A section of the wall shifted, revealing shelves of alien devices, smooth, glowing, and utterly unfamiliar. "These are yours to use," Shearthal said. "They will answer your touch." Elias reached out to one. As his fingers brushed the surface, it lit up, reshaping itself into a handheld scanner that hummed gently. Elias blinked in surprise. The technology was adaptive, responding to his thoughts. He glanced back at the commander, who now reclined on the platform, his massive form settling into place. His voice rumbled once more. "Begin." Elias took a deep breath. He had imagined this moment in countless theories, in endless books and papers about what it would be like to meet alien life. But never had he imagined the first contact would be this, an alien commander asking a human to inspect his very body. For the first time, Elias felt not only fear, but a strange sense of responsibility. Humanity's future in the galaxy might depend on what he found here. And so, with steady hands and a racing heart, he raised the scanner and began. The alien chamber was silent except for the faint hum of machines. Dr. Elias Morgan stood at the edge of the platform, the strange alien scanner glowing softly in his hands. Commander Shearthal reclined before him, his massive frame looking both strong and fragile at the same time. The commander's amber eyes never left Elias. "Begin," he repeated, his voice low and steady. Elias swallowed, trying to calm his nerves. He had studied anatomy all his life. Human anatomy, animal anatomy, and even theoretical alien structures. But this was different. He was not opening a book or scanning a simulation. He was about to inspect the body of a living, breathing commander of an alien empire. His hands trembled slightly as he raised the scanner, The device seemed alive, glowing brighter when his thoughts focused. He swept it slowly across Sirthal's chest. Strange symbols flickered across its surface, but when Elias blinked, the symbols reshaped into English words as if the device wanted him to understand. Cellular integrity. Stable. Neural pathways. Active. Foreign presence undetermined. Elias frowned. Foreign presence? He muttered to himself. The commander's head tilted slightly. What do you see, human? I see something unusual, Elias said carefully. Not clear yet. I need more scans. Sirthal gave a single nod. Continue. The other humans in the delegation stood nearby, whispering among themselves. Ambassador Reyes, the leader of the diplomatic team, looked tense. She whispered to her assistant, We need to understand what this means. If this alien believes his life depends on our scientist, then every word Elias speaks will carry weight. Meanwhile, Elias kept scanning. The device revealed layers of structure beyond human comprehension. Organs that pulsed with energy instead of blood, tissues that looked metallic yet alive, and neural threads that sparkled like starlight. It was both terrifying and beautiful. Then Elias noticed something strange. Tiny specks appeared on the scanner's display, scattered through Sirthal's tissues. They were small, almost invisible, but they pulsed faintly, like sparks hidden in a dark forest. What are those? Elias whispered. The device translated the readings. Nanotech clusters detected. Inactive state. Elias froze. Nanotechnology. Not biological, but artificial. Tiny machines hidden inside the commander's body. He turned to Sirthal slowly. Commander, there are foreign machines in your system. I think someone put them there. The alien commander's eyes narrowed. For a long moment he said nothing. The silence grew heavy like a storm about to break. Finally his deep voice filled the chamber again. I suspected as much. The human stiffened. You knew? Elias asked, confused. I did not know, Sirthal answered. But I felt shadows inside me. My strength is vast, but sometimes it falters without reason. My own physicians told me I was whole, yet I knew they lied. He sat upright, towering above everyone in the room. His gaze turned to Elias. This is why I demanded a human. My people are bound by fear and politics. They would never tell me the truth even if it meant my death. But you, human, you see it. You speak it. The chamber trembled with his voice, but Elias held his ground. These nanotech clusters, Elias explained carefully, are dormant now, but they might be programmed to activate under certain conditions. Stress, emotion, battle. If they activate, they could harm you. Destroy me, Sirthal corrected. That is their purpose. The humans exchanged anxious looks. The implications were clear. Someone within the commander's own empire wanted him gone. Ambassador Reyes stepped forward, bowing slightly. Commander, if what Dr. Morgan says is true, then this is an assassination attempt. Do you know who is responsible? Sirthal's eyes glowed faintly. There are many who hunger for my place, but proof is needed. Without proof I cannot strike. He turned back to Elias. And so I ask again, human, I insist you inspect my body, find the truth hidden within me. The weight of the demand fell heavily on Elias's shoulders. He was no warrior, no politician, no spy. He was a scientist. Yet here he stood, holding the life of an alien commander, and perhaps the fate of humanity, in his hands. Hours passed as Elias worked. The alien devices responded to his touch, shifting shape into tools that fit his needs. Magnifiers, scanners, analyzers. Each new reading revealed more about the foreign nanotech. They were clever, designed to hide within living tissue, almost indistinguishable from natural cells. But Elias noticed subtle differences, the way they vibrated slightly out of sync with surrounding structures, the faint metallic trace in their patterns. These aren't just machines, Elias said quietly. They're designed to look alive. Whoever placed them in your body didn't want them to be found. Sirthal watched him closely. And yet you found them. Elias hesitated. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I'm human. Maybe because I don't know what I'm not supposed to see. The commander leaned back slowly as if reflecting on the words. Unclouded eyes, he murmured. But not everyone in the room was calm. The alien guards shifted uneasily. Their glowing masks turned toward each other, and Elias sensed tension building. Suddenly, one of the alien officers stepped forward, his voice sharp. Commander, this is dangerous. You place your trust in a primitive species. How do you know this human does not lie? Perhaps the humans themselves seek to weaken you. Sirthal's head turned, his glowing eyes narrowing. The room grew colder. You doubt my command? He asked softly. The officer hesitated, then bowed his head quickly. Forgive me, Commander. Silence, Sirthal said. His voice was calm, but it carried such weight that even the air seemed to freeze. The officer stepped back, trembling slightly. Elias realized in that moment how much power Sirthal held. Even wounded, even sabotaged, his authority was absolute. Still, questions swirled in Elias's mind. Who placed the nanotech? Why was Sirthal targeted? And why did the commander believe only humans could reveal the truth? When Elias asked, Sirthal answered simply, because humans are new to the stars. You have no place in our empire, no part in our power struggles. You are outside the web of lies. That makes you dangerous. That makes you useful. The words sent a chill down Elias's spine. For the first time he saw how humanity might be valued. Not for strength, not for technology, but for honesty. For being outsiders who could see what others could not. By the end of the session, Elias had mapped the extent of the nanotech clusters. They were spread through vital areas, lungs, heart-like structures, and especially near the neural threads that carried commands through Sirthal's body. They're dormant now, Elias explained carefully, showing the readings. But if they activate, they could disrupt your entire system. You'd lose control, maybe even die. The commander listened in silence. When Elias finished, Sirthal rose to his full height, towering over all of them. You have given me truth, human, he said at last. No other would dare. He stepped closer, lowering his head slightly toward Elias. From this moment, you are my inspector. Until the danger is gone, your duty is to me. Elias felt the weight of the words. He was no longer just a scientist. He was now bound to the survival of an alien commander, and perhaps to the survival of humanity's future in the galaxy. But before anyone could speak further, alarms echoed through the chamber. Lights flashed red across the walls. The alien soldiers immediately raised their weapons, scanning the corridors. A voice came through the comms, sharp and urgent. Commander! Sabotage detected in the lower decks. Intruders are disabling systems. The humans froze, fear rushing through them. Sirthal's eyes burned brighter. He turned to Elias. The parasites in my body are not the only threat. Already the enemy moves, his voice thundered through the chamber. Stay close, human. Your inspection has only just begun. The alarm still echoed across the chamber, red lights flashing along the curved walls. The humans looked around nervously, unsure what was happening. Alien soldiers spread out in disciplined lines. Their glowing weapons pointed at every possible entrance. Commander Sirthal rose from the inspection platform, his massive frame towering like a living mountain. His amber eyes burned with focus. Saboteurs, he said in a low voice. They strike from the shadows, hoping to weaken me before the truth is known. Dr. Elias Morgan clutched the alien scanner tightly. His heart raced. He was not a soldier. He had never stood in a battlefield, yet here he was, trapped inside a colossal warship with soldiers preparing for a fight. Ambassador Reyes stepped forward cautiously. Commander, do you believe the intruders are part of your own crew? Sirthal turned his gaze toward her. His face remained calm, but there was a weight behind his words. Not all who wear my colors are loyal. Some bend their knee to rivals who hunger for my place. The thought unsettled the humans. If even the commander's own crew could not be trusted, then who was safe? The chamber doors slid open suddenly, and a squad of alien guards rushed in, their voices sharp. Commander, lower deck breached. Energy conduits sabotaged. Sirthal's voice thundered. Contain them. No intruder must leave alive. The guards bowed and stormed out. The commander then turned back to Elias, lowering his voice. You see now, human. The danger inside my body is tied to the danger aboard my ship. The parasites you found are not an accident. They are part of a greater plan. Elias frowned, glancing at the scanner's display. The nanotech clusters he had mapped earlier pulsed faintly, as if reacting to the chaos outside. It's possible, he said slowly, that these parasites are linked to the sabotage. Maybe the intruders want them activated. The commander gave a single deliberate nod. Then you must learn how they work. If you can understand their design, you can help me fight them. Elias hesitated. I don't know if I can. This is far beyond human technology. Sirthal leaned closer, his glowing eyes fierce but calm. You saw what my own physicians could not. That is why you are here. Trust your sight, human." With those words, Elias found new determination. He set the scanner to its deepest mode, focusing on one cluster of nanotech near the commander's chest. The display expanded, showing tiny shapes moving inside. They were smaller than any machine humans had ever built, yet they moved with purpose like hunters waiting for a signal. The scanner translated their structure. Energy receptor, dormant. Activation trigger, high stress response. Primary function, disrupt neural command flow. Elias's eyes widened. They're designed to attack your nervous system when your body is under stress. If you go into battle or even if you become too angry, they'll activate and disrupt your control. The room went silent. Even the alien soldiers seemed shaken. Ambassador Reyes whispered, "That means, if he leads in combat, he'll be weakened instantly. His enemies could strike him down without a fight." Jirthal's voice rumbled. "A weapon placed inside me. My greatest strength turned against me." The commander stood tall, his armor glowing faintly with energy, yet Elias could see tension in his movements, as if the discovery had cut deeper than any wound. "I must know more," Jirthal said firmly. "Find their source." Elias nodded slowly. He adjusted the scanner to trace the material of the nanotech. The reading revealed a faint signature, a unique energy pattern. It was not natural. It was not Vacor. It was something else. "The energy signature doesn't match your body," Elias explained. "It comes from a different source. Maybe another faction in your empire, or maybe even another species." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Show me." Elias rotated the scanner's display, revealing the glowing energy lines. The pattern resembled a spiral, complex and elegant like a signature hidden in light. Jirthal studied it silently. After a long pause, he spoke in a voice colder than before. "This mark belongs to the Caliph Syndicate. Assassins and traitors. They seek to control the Dominion through shadows." The humans exchanged uneasy glances. They had never heard of the Caliph, but it was clear from the commander's tone that they were dangerous. Before Elias could ask more, the chamber shook violently. The floor trembled under their feet. Dust fell from the ceiling. "Commander," a guard shouted. "Explosives in the conduit chamber. Hull integrity compromised." The alien soldiers prepared to move, but Jirthal raised a hand. "Hold your posts. Protect the humans," he turned to Elias. "You must stay alive. If I fall, you must carry the truth of what you have seen." Elias felt his chest tighten. "Me? Carry the truth?" "I'm not a warrior. You are more dangerous than any warrior," the commander said. "You hold proof of betrayal. That is worth more than any blade." Suddenly the lights dimmed. The hum of the ship's core faltered. The saboteurs were striking deeper. Elias's scanner beeped urgently. He looked down and saw the nanotech clusters glowing brighter. The stress of the attack was triggering them. "They're activating," Elias shouted. The commander staggered slightly, gripping the edge of the platform. His amber eyes flickered, his massive hands trembling for the first time. "Control. Slipping," he growled. Elias rushed forward, pressing the scanner against Jirthal's chest. "Stay still." "I'll try to stabilize you." The device reshaped, becoming a small injector of light. Elias didn't know exactly what he was doing, but he followed instinct, letting the scanner guide him. It pulsed with energy, releasing waves into the commander's body. The nanotech flickered, their glow dimming slightly. The scanner translated, "Foreign agents temporarily suppressed." Elias exhaled in relief. "I stopped them for now." Jirthal steadied himself, his strength slowly returning. He looked down at Elias, his voice softer. "You risked yourself to aid me, why?" Elias met his gaze, trembling but resolute. "Because you asked me to inspect your body, and I gave my word I would do it. That's what humans do, we keep trying even when we're afraid." For a moment, the commander was silent. Then a faint expression passed over his face, something almost like respect. The alarms continued, but now the chamber filled with urgency, not fear. Alien officers reported intruder movements while human diplomats whispered strategies. Elias focused on the scanner again. He realized something important. The nanotech clusters were not just weapons. They were transmitting faint signals outward like beacons. "They're sending information," Elias said. "The saboteurs know whether you're weakened or not." "That's how they time their attacks," Ambassador Reyes gasped. "Then they already know the commander resisted activation." Jirthal's eyes burned. "Then they know they have failed." He raised his arm, energy crackling along the metallic plates fused to his body. No more shadows. It is time to face them. But Elias wasn't finished. He adjusted the scanner one final time and discovered something that made his blood run cold. Deep within the commander's neural threads, hidden even more carefully than the other clusters, lay a core unit. Unlike the smaller machines, this one was large, almost alive. Pulsing with faint energy, Elias whispered, "There's a central device, hidden near your brain. If it activates, the others will follow instantly. It's the true control." The commander's face darkened. "The heart of the betrayal." Elias nodded grimly. "Yes, and if it activates, nothing I've done will matter." The room fell silent as the weight of the discovery settled. Humanity had been pulled into the heart of an alien power struggle, and Elias Morgan, a simple human scientist, had just uncovered the key to it all. Gearthal placed one massive hand on Elias's shoulder, careful not to crush him. "You have given me more than inspection, human. You have given me sight. Without you, I would still be blind." Elias felt his fear lessen slightly, replaced by something else. Purpose. He realized then that this was no longer just about one alien commander. This was about humanity proving itself. In the face of betrayal, in the heart of a galaxy filled with power and lies, humans could offer something rare: truth. But there was no time to celebrate. The chamber doors rattled as explosions echoed outside. The saboteurs were coming closer. Gearthal's eyes blazed with fire. He turned to his soldiers and spoke with thunder in his voice. "Prepare for battle. Protect the Inspector. For today, the truth walks among us." The soldiers roared in unison, their weapons glowing brighter. The humans huddled together, fear and determination mixing in their hearts. And Elias tightened his grip on the scanner, knowing that the next steps would not just decide the commander's fate, but humanity's place in the stars. The chamber doors trembled as the sound of explosions echoed through the alien warship. Red warning lights flashed across the curved walls, painting the faces of the humans and aliens alike with an urgent glow. Commander Gearthal stood tall, his glowing amber eyes filled with fire. Around him, alien soldiers readied their weapons, their bodies tense, their armor humming softly with stored energy. Dr. Elias Morgan clutched the alien scanner in his trembling hands, his heart pounding. He was no fighter, yet somehow he had been drawn into this storm. His discovery of the nanotech parasites inside the commander had revealed a conspiracy, but it had also made him a target. Whoever had placed those machines in Gearthal's body would not allow him to live. Gearthal's voice cut through the alarms, deep and steady. "The enemy is within. They mean to end me before the truth spreads, but they have miscalculated. I will not fall, not today." His gaze turned to Elias. "Human, stay close. Your inspection may yet save me again." Elias nodded nervously, though his knees felt weak. I'll try." The chamber doors burst open with a violent blast. A squad of armored intruders stormed inside. Their armor was darker than the commander's soldiers, their movements sharp and efficient. Strange insignias glowed faintly on their chests, the mark of the Caliph Syndicate. "Traitors," Gearthal growled. The intruders raised their weapons, firing streams of crackling light. The commander's loyal soldiers leapt forward, intercepting the blasts with energy shields. The chamber erupted into chaos, the sound of battle filling every corner. Ambassador Reyes and the human delegation ducked behind a row of glowing consoles, their faces pale with fear. Elias crouched beside them, gripping the scanner like a lifeline. "What do we do?" one of the diplomats whispered. Elias looked at Gearthal. The commander was already striding into the fray, his massive arms sweeping aside attackers with crushing force. Energy blasts struck his armor, but he moved as if nothing could touch him. Yet Elias knew the truth. Inside the commander's body, the nanotech clusters waited, eager to activate under stress. Each strike, each surge of anger or strain risked setting them off. "We have to keep him stable," Elias muttered. "If the parasites activate, he'll lose control." Summoning his courage, Elias darted out from cover. He held the scanner high, its glowing light catching Gearthal's attention even in the chaos of battle. "Commander, your stress levels are rising," Elias shouted. Gearthal smashed aside another intruder, then glanced at Elias. For a moment, his expression tightened as if fighting an unseen weight. "Then guide me." "Human," he rumbled. Elias ran closer, dodging sparks and debris. He scanned Zirthal quickly, the device showing flashing warnings. The parasites were stirring, glowing brighter within the commander's body. "They're trying to activate," Elias cried. "You have to control your stress response. Focus your energy, don't let them feed on it." The commander took a deep breath, his massive chest rising and falling. For a moment, the glow inside his body dimmed. Then he roared and struck down 2 more attackers with a single swing of his arm. The parasites flickered but did not fully awaken. Elias sighed in relief. "That's it. Keep control." Meanwhile, the intruders pressed harder. They fought not just with weapons, but with strategy. Their goal was clear: reach Elias and silence him before he could reveal more about their conspiracy. One intruder broke through the alien guards and charged straight at the humans hiding behind the consoles. Ambassador Reyes screamed as the attacker raised his blade-like weapon. Elias's heart leapt into his throat. He had no weapon, no training. But instinct took over. He pointed the scanner at the intruder. To his surprise, the device reshaped instantly, becoming a blinding flash projector. A burst of white light exploded from its tip, striking the attacker's visor. The intruder stumbled back, clutching at his helmet. Zirthal's voice thundered from across the chamber. "Well struck, human." Elias blinked in shock, his hand shaking. He had not meant to attack. The scanner had responded to his fear, turning into a defense tool. Ambassador Reyes grabbed his arm. "You saved us?" Elias swallowed hard, his mind racing. "I'm not a fighter. But maybe this device doesn't care about that. Maybe it only cares about what I need." The battle raged on. Loyal soldiers fought desperately, but the intruders were skilled and ruthless. For everyone they defeated, 2 more seemed to appear. Zirthal fought at the front, a whirlwind of strength and power. Yet Elias saw the subtle signs, the slight hesitation in his movements, the faint tremor in his limbs. The nanotech was trying to push back again. "Commander!" Elias shouted, running toward him. "You're weakening." "I can help." The commander gritted his teeth, his amber eyes flickering. "Do it quickly." Elias pressed the scanner against Zirthal's arm. The device shifted once more, transforming into a circular emitter. It released waves of energy that pulsed into the commander's body, calming the nanotech clusters temporarily. Zirthal exhaled deeply, steadier now. He glanced down at Elias. "Without you, I would already be lost." Elias shook his head. "Without you, I wouldn't be alive." The commander gave a faint, grim smile before turning back to the fight. As the battle stretched on, the humans realized they could not simply defend. The intruders had planted more explosives throughout the ship. If not stopped, the vessel itself could be destroyed. An alien officer rushed to Zirthal's side. "Commander, the core chamber is under attack. If they breach it, the ship will fall." Zirthal's eyes blazed. "Then we go there at once." He looked down at Elias. "You come with me. The parasites are still in play. I will not survive without your inspection." Elias's stomach clenched, but he nodded. "I'll go." Ambassador Reyes grabbed his arm. "Elias, are you sure?" "It's too dangerous." Elias met her gaze, his voice steady despite the fear. "If I stay behind, he might fall. And if he falls, we all fall." There was no more to say. The group moved quickly through the warship's corridors. Alien lights flickered overhead and the floor shook under distant explosions. Soldiers guarded the humans closely, their weapons ready. Zirthal strode at the front, his massive presence clearing the way. Elias followed close, scanner in hand. Every step felt heavier than the last, but he refused to stop. At last, they reached the core chamber. The doors slid open to reveal a vast space filled with glowing energy conduits, each one pulsing like the veins of a living creature. But intruders were already there, planting charges on the conduits. Sparks flew as they worked quickly, desperate to finish their sabotage. Zirthal roared, his voice echoing like thunder. "Calith cowards, you will face me." The intruders turned, weapons raised. A storm of fire and light filled the chamber as battle began anew. Elias ducked behind a console, scanning Zirthal again. The nanotech parasites were surging faster this time, feeding on the commander's rage. "They're almost fully awake," Elias shouted. "If you keep fighting like this, they'll take over completely." The commander struck down another enemy, then staggered slightly. His hands trembled, his breath heavy. "Then stop them, human. Do what only you can," Elias's heart pounded. He had no training, no experience. But he had something else, trust. The commander trusted him. Humanity's future depended on him. He raised the scanner high. Then let's end this. The device reshaped once again, becoming a complex tool with glowing prongs. Elias pressed it against the commander's chest, focusing with all his will. "Come on," he whispered. "Show me how to stop them." The scanner pulsed, displaying the glowing image of the central control unit deep within Shirthal's brain. It was ready to activate, seconds away from unleashing total collapse. Elias's hands shook, but he steadied them. He adjusted the scanner, sending focused waves of energy directly at the core. The parasites resisted, glowing brighter, fighting back. "Hold on," Elias shouted. "Just a little longer." Shirthal roared in both pain and defiance, his body straining. Yet he stood firm, refusing to collapse. At last, the scanner released a final surge. The core unit flickered, then dimmed. The other clusters followed, their glow fading to silence. The scanner displayed the message. "Foreign control neutralized. System stable." Elias fell to his knees, exhausted but relieved. "It's done. I shut them down." Shirthal steadied himself, his strength returning fully. He looked down at Elias with pride. "Human, you have saved me again. Today you are more than an inspector. You are my shield." The battle was not yet over, but with the commander free of his inner chains, his power was unstoppable. He surged into the fight, striking down the remaining intruders with overwhelming force. His loyal soldiers cheered, their morale renewed. One by one, the Kalith saboteurs fell. Their explosives were disarmed, their weapons shattered. The core chamber was secure. At last, silence returned. The humans slowly emerged from cover, their faces pale but alive. Ambassador Reyes let out a shaky breath. We survived." Elias stood weakly, the scanner still glowing in his hand. He looked at Shirthal, who now stood tall and unbroken. The commander raised his voice so all could hear. "This day I live because of a human. Let all who doubt learn this truth. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is the light that reveals shadows." His soldiers roared in agreement. Elias felt his chest swell with a mix of pride and disbelief. He was no warrior, no hero, but somehow in the trial by fire he had become both. The great warship floated in orbit above Earth, its massive shadow stretching across the blue oceans below. From the ground it looked like a second moon, silent, watchful, mysterious. But inside the silence was gone. The halls of the alien vessel were alive with the sounds of repair crews, soldiers cheering, and diplomats trying to understand what had just happened. The coup had been stopped. The parasites that had almost destroyed Commander Zirthal were gone. The saboteurs had been defeated. Yet the echoes of the battle still lingered in every corner of the ship. Dr. Elias Morgan sat quietly in the medical chamber, his hands resting on his knees. He had not slept for hours. His body felt heavy, his eyes half closed, but his mind refused to rest. Every time he shut his eyes, he saw flashes of the battle, energy blasts tearing through the chamber, soldiers falling, and the commander trembling as the parasites inside him tried to take control. He also remembered the moment when the scanner in his hands had shifted and revealed the way to neutralize the parasites. He remembered the commander's voice, deep, powerful, yet full of trust, telling him to finish what no alien could do. Elias took a slow breath. He was not a soldier. He had never been a hero. Yet somehow in the trial by fire he had become both. The doors slid open with a soft hum and Ambassador Reyes stepped into the chamber. She looked tired, but her eyes were bright. "There you are," she said, walking over to him. "Everyone has been asking about you. The aliens are calling you?" "Well, something close to Truth-Bearer. It's a title of honor in their culture." Elias blinked. "Truth-Bearer?" Reyes nodded. "They believe you revealed the hidden corruption inside their commander's body when no one else dared. And you fought beside them when others would have run. Elias, you've changed how they see humanity." He shook his head, unsure how to respond. I only did what I had to do." Reyes gave a small smile. "Sometimes that's all it takes to make history." Before Elias could answer, the floor trembled slightly. A deep, steady rhythm echoed through the walls. It was not an alarm, not an attack. It was something else, something ceremonial. Reyes looked toward the sound and said softly, "He's calling for you." Elias frowned. "Who? The commander," she replied. "Zirthal wants you to stand with him before the council." Moments later, Elias found himself walking through the massive corridors of the alien warship, flanked by two tall Vacor guards. Their armor gleamed, their weapons holstered. They walked with a sense of pride, as though escorting not just a human, but someone who mattered. The chamber doors ahead opened slowly, revealing the council hall. Elias gasped. It was vast, larger than any stadium he had ever seen on Earth. The ceiling stretched high above, filled with constellations of glowing lights. Rows upon rows of alien representatives sat in circular tiers, their bodies strange and diverse. Some had crystalline skin that shimmered, others had elongated forms that seemed to flow like liquid. Yet all eyes turned toward the center platform where Commander Zirthal stood. The commander was no longer clad in battle armor. Instead, he wore ceremonial robes, deep black with threads of gold symbolizing strength and survival. His amber eyes glowed brightly as he raised his massive arms, calling for silence. "People of the Dominion," Zirthal began, his voice booming across the chamber, "and honored delegates of Earth who share this hall. Today we stand in the wake of betrayal. Enemies within sought to end my command, to chain me with hidden poisons. They failed." A low murmur swept through the council. Zirthal lifted a hand and the hall grew quiet again. "They failed not because of my strength alone. They failed because of one among us, a human." Every gaze in the chamber turned toward Elias. He froze under their stares, his heart pounding. Zirthal continued. "While my own people hid the truth, fearing my wrath, this human spoke it. While conspirators struck in the shadows, this human risked himself to stand in the light. And when my body betrayed me, when the poison of machines nearly consumed me, this human used his knowledge, his courage, and his will to save me." He turned fully toward Elias now, his voice echoing with power. "Dr. Elias Morgan is no mere guest of the Dominion. He is proof that humanity is not weak, not primitive, not unworthy. Humanity is a light that reveals shadows. Humanity is a shield that protects even when death is near. Humanity, I declare, is a necessary force among the stars." The chamber erupted in sound. Some delegates shouted in agreement. Others murmured with surprise. The voices blended together until the hall shook with noise. Elias stood frozen, his face hot. He wanted to disappear under their gaze, yet he also felt something he had never known before: pride. Ambassador Reyes, seated among the human delegation, smiled at him and whispered to those around her, "Do you see? We are no longer just visitors. We are equals." When the noise finally calmed, a representative of another species rose. This being looked like a living column of crystal, glowing faintly with inner light. "Commander Zirthal," the crystal being said in a clear, musical voice, "you claim that this human revealed the truth when none of your own dared. You claim that humanity holds value beyond its years. Then tell us, will you bind your word to theirs? Will you declare humanity not as subjects but as allies?" Zirthal's eyes glowed brighter. "Yes," he declared firmly. "I will bind my word. Humanity is to be recognized not as lesser, but as necessary. They are truth-bearers among the stars." The chamber filled with sound again, but this time it was not surprise. It was applause, cheers, and even chants. The decision was being accepted piece by piece, moment by moment. Elias felt dizzy, his legs weak. He never imagined such words would ever be spoken in his lifetime. Later, when the ceremony ended and the council adjourned, Zirthal approached Elias directly. His towering form cast a long shadow, but his voice was softer now. "Human," he said, lowering his head slightly, a gesture of respect. "When first you came aboard my ship, you were uncertain. I saw fear in your eyes, but today I see something else. You have changed, and because of you, so have we." Elias looked up at him, still overwhelmed. "I only did what anyone would have done." The commander gave a low rumble, almost like a laugh. "No, not anyone, only you. Only a human." That night, Elias stood by one of the massive viewing windows of the alien ship, looking down at Earth. The blue oceans shimmered, the white clouds drifting slowly. It looked both small and vast, fragile yet unbroken. Ambassador Reyes joined him quietly. "Do you realize what this means?" she asked. Elias shook his head. "I'm still trying to understand it. It means," she said, her voice steady with pride, "that Earth is no longer alone. We are not just a distant world at the edge of the galaxy. We are part of something greater now. And it started because one human chose to speak the truth." Elias turned back to the planet. For the first time, he did not feel like just a scientist or just a passenger in the universe. He felt like a bridge between worlds. The next day, when the humans prepared to return to Earth, Sirthal stood at the docking bay to see them off. His amber eyes locked on Elias one last time. "Human," he said, his voice firm. "This is not the end. Our paths will cross again. You carry within you what my people cannot. Remember this, in times of shadow, humanity will always be needed." Elias nodded, his throat tight with emotion. "I'll remember." With that, the humans boarded their shuttle. As the engines roared to life, Elias looked through the window at the towering commander, standing proud and unshaken. The shuttle descended toward Earth, carrying with it not just people, but history itself. On Earth, the news spread quickly. Every channel, every network, every station repeated the same story. Humanity had stood before a galactic empire and proven its worth. Humanity had been recognized as equal, as necessary as something no one could ignore. Children pointed at the sky with wonder. Families gathered around their screens in awe. Scientists, leaders, and ordinary people alike felt the weight of the moment. Humanity was no longer small. Humanity was no longer alone. And at the center of it all was Dr. Elias Morgan, the reluctant inspector who had become the truth-bearer. In the quiet of his home weeks later, Elias sat with the alien scanner on his desk. It had been given to him as a gift, its surface smooth and faintly glowing. He touched it gently, and once again it shifted, changing to a form that fit perfectly in his hand. He smiled faintly. "You still think I'm more than I am, don't you?" He whispered to the device, but deep down he knew the truth. He was more than he had ever believed. And so was humanity. For the first time in history, Earth had stepped into the galaxy not as prey, not as servants, but as truth-bearers. And the stars no longer felt so far away.